Welcome to the P.D.A. podcast, where we are engaging in conversation and exploring real-life topics that help an individual better understand purpose with authority, strength, and boldness. I am your host, Q Vercetti. Let's continue to be purpose-driven.
Welcome back, y'all. It's season 2 of the P.D.A. podcast. Season 2, episode 1. And today, I have with me a very, very important and special guest. We have a author, connector, associate therapist, Miss Kyla Thompson.
Hey.
This was clap go right there. Man, where we started?
How it started.
How it started. So the guy group. I remember First Lady, she texted me. Basically, she just sent the guy group and was like, I want you to be a part of this guy group. And I'm like, what she got me getting ready to go to? Because she always, she don't ask you. She volunteers.
Voluntold.
Yes. She volunteers you, and so you just got to show up.
Yeah.
And she'll ask you, too, did you
go?
Yeah.
Right.
And so I'm like, dang, I wanted to sleep in on Sunday. I ain't wanted to get up. I was just trying to go to the 12.
And be done.
Be done. But then I got there. And you was there. And I sat down. And you guys to talking about some things that I had personally wanted to grow in. And I was like, okay, maybe First Lady be knowing what she talking about, what she doing, what she be doing, what she be doing. Because I'm like, dang, she always throwing somebody in something without your permission, but I needed that.
Yeah.
I needed that.
Yeah.
And so how did she get you, or how did you start with the whole guide program?
So the guide program was like, honestly, because I went back to get my master's degree. Okay. Pandemic happened. I'm like, I need to transition out of doing hair. I'm going to go get my master's degree. I'm like, what am I getting my master's in? What am I good at? I'm good at talking to people. Okay, people come in my chair and tell me everything. Therapy. So that's when I decided to do therapy. I had got a fellowship from the National Board for Certified Counselors, and wonderful fellowship, wonderful opportunity. Part of my deliverables for the fellowship was I had to create something, I just had to have some kind of like impact. Like, what did I want to do as a project, we'll say. And me, I can't just do like, I'm going to write a paper. I'm going to write a blog, right? I'm like, I'm going to create. At first I was like, I'm going to create an app. I was like, no, I ain't going to create no app. This is too much. So I'm like, I'm going to create a program because I wanted to make sure it was something that was going to be impactful, right? That something that potentially I could leave like a legacy with that. This is this thing I created. And so I was sitting there thinking like, what was a challenging time for me? What's the audience I want to speak to? And I'm like, 20-somethings. Like, that was a hard time for me. I was a 19-year-old single mom. I had my daughter at 19 in college, trying to navigate being a single mom. I had my other daughter at 20, I think 3, still in college because it took me forever to finish college. But that emerging adulthood age was challenging. And so, like, most people are like, how could I be what I needed back then? So that's where I created the guide program. And I didn't know at the time what I was going to call it. I'm just like, I'm going to do this program. And I think I happened to look at some book that was on the table and it said guide. I'm like, oh, I like that. And that's where I was like, what's it going to be? Like, what's it going to stand for? Gaining understanding for intentional direction and exploration. I'm like, God be working his brain. I'm like, come on, God, that was good. And so I'm like, this is exactly what I want to help young adults do, is to understand more about who they are, what it is they want to do, and what are the steps to get there. So I reached out to First Lady like, hey, can I run this at the church or somewhere? Like, how can I? And she's always been, when I tell you in my corner, you already know, right?
Yeah.
She's always been there in my corner, and anything I've had, she's listened to, she's helped me to work through. And she was like, I'll open up the space for you. I'll get you some people there. Don't worry about it. They're going to come. You know what I mean? They're going to come. Yeah. And there y'all were. I think we started with like maybe 8 or 10 and ended had six consistently. And I mean, it was a beautiful experience. So just as nervous or just as like, what am I doing here? I'm coming in there like, I hope they listen. I hope they want to hear what I got to say. Because people have to be receptive and open, right? I can pour, and if you don't want to hear, you're not ready. You're not gonna pick up what I'm putting down, right? So, I will say meeting you and doing those one-on-ones is what's so important.
Yeah.
While I am a person who people are like, you're an extrovert, I'm really not. I know how to be. I really appreciate this. I appreciate one-on-one conversations. I like to go a little deeper. And it's not that, I don't know why people like telling me their business, but I mean, I love being a part of it, and really helping navigate whatever it is they're going through. So when me and you got linked up and started really having our talks, I'm like, oh, she on it. Oh, she's really good. Oh, she's going to do things. And I loved it. And here we are today.
Yeah.
Like, here we are today. So yeah, it was that was a great experience for me personally and professionally. But also to see a little bit of myself in each of y'all. But then to see how y'all work this thing when you have somebody in your corner, holding you accountable, but y'all help you, and especially help to hold me accountable too. Like, we gonna have this call, you know what I'm saying? Because I still was going through school and stuff. So here we are. You did it. You did it.
We did it.
We did it.
We did it. Because really, like, I remember when it first started, I was in the transition of, I had just graduated college. I was like, I'm going for sport. I went for sports management. Coming out, my perception and my passion and my heart for coaching basketball had changed. And we talked about that. And I was just like, I don't really know what's next, other than I know I work well with kids.
Yeah.
Like middle school to high school age. And like, what do I do with that?
And you know, honestly, your story is one of my favorites to tell people about the GUIDE program, because it was in that one conversation, and then connecting you with somebody else to have the conversation about coaching. And when you told me, you said, yeah, that's not my dream anymore. I was like, wow. Because how many people are walking around with this once was dream, and they haven't yet had just conversations with somebody to even see and understand. This is why I think it's so important to connect people to people who are in positions where you think you want to go to, so you can get the real of what it's going to take. Because you was like, no, I want my family. You know? I don't want to do all that. So for me, that was, one of my highlights of the program was having that conversation with you afterwards. You know, so yeah, I love that. I love that.
And when you hooked me up with, what was her name?
April.
Yes, Miss April. And she was running it all down for me, and she told me about how she backed out the game because she was like, she wanted to have her family and be present. And I was like, yeah, this ain't for me. So I was just like, okay, I got to understand it now, because everybody's like, well, if you want to do basketball, you need to go in education. But I'm like, I don't want to teach. But I'm like, I know I'm good at getting people and kids ready or coaching them or excited to do something. So how else can I be impactful and guide them in that way? And that's how I got into teaching. But what I really want to talk about, though,
let's talk,
is like the GUIDE program and like how you helped me get in, shall I say, position for the promise. Because I think for all of us in life, we, most of us, I should say, we're working towards the promise, right? Or we're lost, we're trying to find our way, we're trying to get guidance some way, somehow, through any type of avenue that can reach us. And you just so happen to be a part of that avenue to help me get there. So if I had to title this episode, it would be Get in Position.
Get in position. I like that.
So I just know, like I was saying at that point in time, just transitioning from college, got in touch with you through the GUIDE group, and we talked about like what I wanted, starting a podcast, doing music, getting out more. Like we went through,
All
you
the
was hitting
things.
me all the
All the things.
yeah. You was running the list down. You like, so what about this? What's this year go? What's
Yeah.
What's your 6 month go? What's your 3 month go? And I'm like, I want to get to tomorrow.
Right. That's it.
Tomorrow.
Because that can be daunting, right? That's one thing I will tell you. And to this day, it's even a little daunting for me to think about what is your 5-year plan. That could be very overwhelming, right? Some people have their 3-year, 5-year, 10-year, 20-year plan. Listen, I'm trying to get to this girl's graduation, and that's it, right? So I think in order to make it more digestible, make it more like attainable, like I can really see myself, we have to break it down into what is my 3-month, 6-month, 1-year plan. Let's go from there. This is how you accelerate it. I mean, you accelerated from this thought of what I want. I think I want to do this. I think I want to. Okay, I want to, do an open mic. I kind of want to do a podcast. Okay, well, let's break this down. So what's the title? What's the purpose? Let's find out what the purpose of it is, right?
Yeah.
And then you just took off, because I think that while God puts people in our life, right, and people who can help us to connect to other people in our lives and gets us in position, there still has to be a part of you that is prepared and ready. Okay, so that readiness and that willingness, what was that saying, when preparation meets opportunity? You was in position and you was ready to receive.
Yeah.
And here's somebody come along like, come on, you can do it. Come on, you can do it. And you did it. And so I think like sometimes you just need somebody to be a catalyst. And then it's like, she's off to the races, y'all. Yeah.
And that's literally what happened, because I remember you even said it, like when we was having the one-on-ones, like how I was just moving along so fast, and how every time that I came back, I was hitting every single one of the marks that we had set. And even like, I think it was one time during the one-on-ones where I think we planned something for 6 months and I hit it within like the 2 to 3 month mark.
Yes.
So
I'm like, dang. And let me tell you, if every client could be like that, oh my goodness. I'm not saying like, listen, doing therapy is cool and all that stuff, right? And but ideally, having somebody who is like taking it and running with it, that fuels me to keep going. Because it's challenging when you have somebody that you have to pull, or like there's other things you got to work out or uncover, because some people aren't vulnerable and ready and willing to open up. And so it's like, we got to play this tug of war. And it's like, where do I then say, I tried and I did my best? And there's somebody who like really is passionate about the things they do. I'll be taking that person like, well, why they wasn't ready right now? Like I tried, I did my best, but I had to, a good friend of mine in college, in my master's program, reminded me to leave room for God. There's a place in there where you have to leave room for God to do what he does too. So I can only do so much, so I imparted what I could, and he was just like, okay. You got it done.
Yes. Yeah. See, now I want to piggyback off of what you just said. To leave room for God. So was there ever like a space or a time like with doing the guy group or with anybody where it was hard to do that?
Absolutely.
How was it?
What do you mean? It was like hard to leave room for God in there? In the midst of doing the guy group, I was still doing my internships for therapy. And so I actually had some 2 challenging clients then. One in particular who, with therapy, you have to give the client the autonomy to make their own choices in what they do. And when you are pointing all signs to you should leave, like this is not working for you in a relationship, whatever, and they don't do that but keep going back, that is challenging, because it's like, what's the point of why are we doing this, and it can be disappointing. It's like, I'm giving my best work here. What's happening? I'm praying before sessions. I'm doing this and that, but to see it's like, man, but they returning back to the same toxic stuff. That's when I had to realize this is beyond me. This is beyond me and anything that I can do in this space. And I just have to, as long as they're going to keep coming back, I have to allow them the space to keep coming back. And maybe it's just I'm giving them the space to vent and process and hear their self out loud. So those are times where I will write people's words out on the whiteboard just so they can, just so you can fully hear yourself, and I can point something. And there had been some aha moments in there, but yeah. So there are challenges there. I think me now. What another thing that helped me though is because we didn't mention. I said we wasn't gonna mention it, but we can mention it. I'm supposed to be a retired hairstylist right now, but
Right.
23 years of doing hair. I think I was prepared for this. I was getting trained for this a long time ago.
Yeah.
So when you got clients walking to your door crying, I'm like, I thought we was doing hair today.
Right.
We doing therapy right now, but it's just having to be ready for whatever. So I think that prepared me for what I'm walking into now, and the kind of individuals that I consider it a gift to be trusted with some of the most vulnerable people, with people at their most vulnerable times. I'll say that. I'm just like reminding myself, like, I did my part. And God, you got it. Because I can't take it home with me. I can't take it home with me. So
that's true. But it's got to be hard to leave that at the door. Like
it used to be. And even I would say even now, I sound kind of cold now, but I say that because again, I think I was prepared. Doing hair, the thing with doing hair, there was a beginning and the end, and typically after I got done doing somebody's hair and they turn around, see themselves and they love their hair, like that good, that right. With therapy, with doing like the guide program, working with clients one-on-one like that, I don't always get to see that result. I don't always get to see that I'm great. I might see somebody walking out in tears, and I'm like, I just made them unpack all this, and I don't know what's gonna happen when they go home, or they gotta go back to this toxic environment, right? That's what was hard for me because I was so used to seeing an end result, and it was discouraging. Like, so in doing this now, I've had to get comfortable with knowing. This is why I say I love knowing that I just had a small part to play. Because if I could just have been that person to even plant a little seed, I did something. And I did it the best that I could do, right?
Right.
So I think that's a big thing too, is making sure I'm coming from a pure place, and that truly is with good intentions. And that is to help to see other people win, and to empower other people as well. So that helps me. Where it's like I'm not disappointed in the end when somebody walk out mad or like discouraged still. Maybe they got chew on it a little bit longer. I think we've had sessions where I'm like, I hope she's good. Like, I hope she like, I know you, like, I can tell when somebody's thinking, and or if they get quiet, I'm like, But it's great when you get to see somebody come back a week later, like, you know what? We talked about such and such last time, and this is what happened. I'm like, okay, awesome. It's working. It's working. But there's some times where I've had actually a couple clients where it just ended. And I don't know where it ended at. But all I can do is then let me pray for this person and I had to let it go. I can't afford to carry that with me.
Right.
So I'm a talker. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you good. Because because going back to how you said the thinking part, like how we've had some sessions where it was just like that moment of silence, and it's like, like what are they unpacking from what I just told them?
I had to be trained to be able to allow that moment of silence to happen, because oftentimes, you know what people do? It's awkward, so they gotta feel it.
Feel the space.
But that silent I will let a silent moment sit, because sometimes you just gotta marinate.
You do. And
somebody might be on the brink of open up like something else or it connecting, and so I don't always want to interject with my thoughts or getting them to say something. So I've learned, what's your thoughts? What you thinking?
And you say that too.
It
be that space. It be that space, and then it be there for a while, and then you come in, you be like, what you thinking? And then I come in, I feel like, well.
I love that, well.
And it was never like a moment either where I felt like, how I want to put it. like you were trying to think for me or force your thoughts on me, if anything, you would say, here's my perspective of what you're saying. Here's how I'm seeing it. This is my viewpoint of how I'm seeing what you're saying. Tell me where you at with it.
Yeah.
And then we ran from there.
Because sometimes maybe the way I see it is just a totally different way. You never even thought about it. And then you're like, huh. But that also then offers the opportunity for clarity to happen there where, well, no, actually, I ain't see it this way. This is what I really meant by it, right? So then I can step into your mind and be like, oh, I see how she's thinking. Oftentimes, you ever watch The Good Doctor and how the good doctor like sees stuff happening?
Yeah.
So this is how I am when I like talk to people and I start connecting like the way they think. I'm like, ooh, I'm in their mind now. Okay, so this is why then you did X, Y, and Z, and then why this happened. And I've had a client before like, oh my God, are you psychic? No, I just connected them dots. You know what I mean? So this is why then it's like I can't, and I had to be mindful of that because as a hairstylist, right, this is where the difference is here. As a hairstylist, I can give you that girlfriend talk and like, girl, you need to go, right? As a therapist, when you're, and just, even if you're a coach, when you're stepping into trying to understand somebody, you have to offer. You have to, may I suggest, or this is what I heard you say. It's a different conversation. And so that's one thing that I'm glad you pointed out. Thank you. I'm glad I did that. Good job, Kyla. Celebrate your wins. Celebrate your wins.
Yeah. So segueing into like the guy group and like how I got the pod started and how you helped me. Because you connected me with Miss Catherine.
Miss Catherine. I'm trying to think.
I think her name is Kat. She goes by.
Kat. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So you was like, if you want to do this pod, you was like, start a mission statement. What's the purpose behind it? I think I already had the name and you was just like, okay, so like give me. And then the next time that we got on the phone, I think between then, I had talked to Miss Catherine. She gave me the rundown. She was like, this is what you need.
Yeah.
This is how you started. This is how I started. This is how it's going for us.
Yep.
And then I came back with like the first episode written out.
Wild. Like, listen, that was like, that. Oh, she ain't playing. She's not playing. But so like I said at the beginning, I finally got, I always wanted to be the person who knew somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody. Like, honestly, that was my end goal in life, was like to be the person that knows somebody that knows somebody knows somebody. And I want to be a philanthropist and like kiss babies and like sign checks, right? I want to do that. And I want to be a socialite. So, but offer the good. So being a connector means a lot to me. Being a connector is not, I want these connections so I can get in this place and do that. It's like, I really just want to connect people to really like build relationships and really to see people do the things they want to do. I think we live in a world today where, like, yes, social media is great and it's a great tool to use if used in a good way, right? But I think there's also an air of like competitiveness amongst everybody. And because we have access to see everything everybody's doing, it's like, oh, they doing that. Okay, well, they already doing that, so I ain't gonna do this. Or, you know, so there's some discouragement that can happen. There's some hate that can happen. I just try to genuinely be a good person. And I'm not perfect. Now, let me know, I ain't perfect, you know. But I try to genuinely be a good person and treat people well, really get to know who they are and what they do for the very purpose of, how can I connect you to somebody? So that's what, and I pray, I feel like I don't have to pray this for you. I know you're this type of person who can do this as well, because you're allowing your platform right here for this. We all have some kind of platform where we can help to build somebody else up. And you can't tell me that's not going to be reciprocated in some way. It don't have to be from the person. It could be in another form. But if we're mindful about how we do these things, so that's why I connected you with Kat and Monique. Yeah, so you spoke with Kat and how they have, this is somebody I met through hair. And she encouraged me in so many different things, right, in business as well, and allowed me to be on her podcast one time as well. And it's just like, cool. Noted in my mental notebook, this person does this. So when the guide program came up and you told me, oh, podcast, hold on, boo boo, mental Rolodex, I got somebody you talk to. And I love that I don't know. God just let me meet genuine people because she was like, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that is the most important thing, right there. One of the most important things is to be open and willing to just help impart a few nuggets. She could have just told you one thing, whatever, but I think it was beneficial. But to see how you work that plan, like, man, you work that plan. It's like I don't even think the podcast was like top tier up here. I think we was talking about music, right?
Yeah.
And you was doing the open mic. I did open mic. I'm like, that's what's up, okay? And then you start really just going into the podcast. So I remember I was like, okay, do your first verse. Okay, do the hook or whatever, right? And then you was like, well, I've been working on the podcast. I got this done. I got that done. Well, I got the whole first episode playing out. Okay. So you moved it right along. You moved it right along. And I think it is just like amazing to me to see like this come to fruition. Like, that's so dope. Yeah. Okay, season 2.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, season 2.
And just to think about it, like how you've been instrumental in helping it happen, because I think you really helped me unpack some things for myself as far as like procrastination, because I think we bonded over that procrastination thing.
It's a thing I have too. Yes. But that's linked to perfectionism as well. Right?
Yeah, so we was talking about like how, like, because we wanted to be a certain way, we tend to procrastinate
And put it off.
And so then I think they gave me that motivation, knowing that I was checking in with you like maybe once or twice a month.
Yeah.
Where it was like, all right, that gave me that boost, that kick in the butt, where it was like, okay,
yeah,
I'm gonna have this done.
Because sometimes you gotta uncover certain things, right? Had we not uncovered that, and what the root is, that was one of the roots. Like, okay, you procrastinating. Why you procrastinating? Because you want to be perfect. I think I couldn't get you to like post, right? Because you was like with the whole Instagram, like, you gotta post, like, start marketing this thing so people know you have it, and trying to figure out what to say, what to do, and just do. But the very things I'm telling you, it's like things I'm speaking to myself as well. So like I told you, like, even just being here, it's like, man, let me get on my stuff too, right? There's so much more. But we oftentimes get in our way so much. We get in our way so much. And once we learn how to step out of our way, because what happens is we are holding on to things that have been told to us from other people, from childhood, from school, from work, from social media, all these places, right? You're not enough. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. And it's like we hold on to it and it becomes our truth. And who said that's true?
Right.
And so we got to sometimes, yes, have somebody to pour into us, to believe in us, to help us. But ultimately, you got to believe in you. I just told you that I got to believe in me to do some things. And you believed in you. You did it. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And I feel like that's like, so back, going back to what you said, like about, we use that as our truth. Because I think a lot of times we envision, we see one thing, but we see a lot of other people doing another thing, or we share an idea and they start to speak death over the life that we once spoke to ourselves.
Yeah.
And then we start making that what they say are true.
Like, that's law.
Yeah.
Right? And who says that? And why do they have the power then to alter what you said for yourself? Right. What you believed in, what you feel God told you, right? Why do they have that power and authority? And it just dawned on me a couple weeks ago. I was praying to God about, like, I trust you, God. Help me to, like, strengthen my trust in you and whatever, right? And I just sat there and thought, I was like, well, I trust myself. I am, like, you are in me. That means me trusting myself has to be me trusting you as well, right? Because we have to move our feet, and we can't just say, God, I trust you, and be sitting like real still. Like, I trust you, but you got to do these things, right? We have to do our part, move our feet, and trust that even if this don't work out, He's gonna work it out. It's gonna come together. But yeah, that part of, like, allowing somebody's words to become law, it's wild how many people get stuck there. And I remember we talked about that in the guide program about just those negative self-talk and, like, where that comes from. And it's a lot of people walking around here still hearing their mama, still hearing the teacher, still hearing
Yeah.
their old friend, you know, whoever. And it's just holding them back. But because you're giving somebody that power,
Right.
they still occupying space
Whew.
for the frisky.
Condos.
Yeah. Hey.
Mansions. Mansions.
Listen, for too long.
Too long.
Too long.
And I think that can really go into like, even when it comes to the purpose and God's trying to set you up and get you into position
Yes.
for that purpose or for that promise. And then we so worried about what somebody else saying, what this person, that person said about like, oh, what you think about this idea? Well, what did God say about that idea? What about when you sat down and you prayed and you talked to God and what did he say?
Yeah.
And instead of listening to the author, the
Right.
creator, we listen to somebody who he created to think they, sometimes, don't get me wrong, people give you a word.
They do.
But their word is not as bond as his word
No.
is.
No. And I think we have to learn how to filter out certain things. People will latch on to stuff like, I'm going to take this all what you said. And sometimes, like, maybe it was a word in there.
Right.
But everything, you don't have to eat, like, dinner. You don't have to eat the whole plate. You know, you don't have to take everything. But it's just, we sometimes, I think because people may be vulnerable in this space where they want to hear certain things. They want to, they want somebody to validate certain things. We don't always need people validation.
We don't.
We don't always need somebody to say, yes, that was a great idea, Lex. We don't always need that.
And I can attest to that because there's definitely been some times where it was just like I was vulnerable. I'm like, I'm trying to hear God or I hear God.
Yeah.
I heard what he said, but I know my auntie, I'm my auntie's girl. My auntie will definitely tell me something, and then I'll be like, cause my auntie said it, I'm gonna run with it. And then I'll be like, well, that's not quite working with what God said. But because I was in a vulnerable space, and I know that she gives wisdom, so I took what she said, but now I'm off course.
Yeah.
So it's just like you said that.
You have to decide, and just because this is somebody, and I think we all have people who are very wise and have poured into us, there comes a time where you do have to find yourself in what is right for you. You know, what do you say? What do you think? Right? This is where we can't get lost in the thought of, well, my mama said I should do this. My auntie said I should do this. What do you feel? What feels good to you? Like understanding purpose, right? What your purpose is. Now, I really feel like it's a journey to that. And then finding that golden thread that connects you to what your purpose is. I said, looking at my own background, now I'm able to kind of I tell people, connect the dots with your life, look back on some things, and where is that golden thread? And mine has always been, and this is even before doing hair, serving others, helping others, being present, listening. Like I've always been that person, you know. So I feel like I've been maneuvering through life, but in some form of my purpose, you know. Now, I'm more confident than ever. I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, because I can see it though. And I think oftentimes we don't allow ourselves the opportunity to see even the smallest of like signs that you are operating in your purpose. I think we are waiting for, you talked about before, like I had this vision and what it should look like. And we are so married to that vision and what it looks like because that's how I thought it up. But remember, we got to leave room for God to do his thing. And sometimes you just got to look at those little things and be like, okay, I see you. Okay, we're working towards this. Because I'm sure when you was doing, we talked about your career, like working and stuff, and some other jobs that you had, I'm sure you was like, this ain't it. This ain't it.
This ain't it, dog.
But if you didn't do that, you wouldn't get to this. You know, if you didn't do that, you wouldn't have took that test. You wouldn't do, you know what I'm saying? So it's like we have to find that and then I think once you start being able to track back and then you start to find that golden thread, as you move forward, you'll start to appreciate things a little more. And you'll look at it and find gratitude in things instead of looking at the lack of things. Well, I'm not here yet. You say, but at least I got this. At least this is working out right now. And I'm going to just keep doing this. Instead of, I'm giving you a word First Lady actually gave me. I just thought about that because that was one thing in my master's program that it was a challenging time because it felt like I took so many steps back by trying to accomplish this big goal or get to this next step or whatever. And for me, I was frustrated because I didn't stop doing hair because the COVID happened and I lost clientele. No, clientele was good and is still good. Like if I open these doors back up, they'd be like, please, can I see it? But that's just doing good business and being good people, right? So it's like I made this choice to get this debt again and to not be working like I was. And now financially things are going this way, and I was frustrated. And there's plenty of times I call First Lady like, I'm overwhelmed. I think I made the wrong choice, Everything seems like it's just fires all over the place. And she told me, you got to take your eye off the lack. You're looking at your lack. And you have to change your perspective, what you're looking at. And so I now rest really heavy on gratitude, heavy on the gratitude.
You got to.
Heavy on the gratitude, little things. And that's what's going to fuel you and keep you going. Yeah.
So circling back.
Yes, ma'am.
Because how did you, or where did you know at a point in time where you had to transition out of doing hair to going back to getting your master's?
Girl, still trying to transition. How did I know? I'm going to take COVID. Like, COVID really let me know, like, sis, you got to do something else. Because while I saw lots of entrepreneurs being very creative during that time, I had, I had my product line, was doing great things, with hair, had a great, I love my clients to this day. I've been checking on them. I love them. But the pandemic happened. I had to sit really still like everybody else. What I didn't have, like some people, was PTO, sick time, like work from home. There was no work from home. I had to you can come downstairs and I can do your hair, but I'm like, guys, I gotta do something different. Like, what can I do? And for me, I really used to struggle with, and my mom would correct me all the time. I would say, well, I'm just a hairstylist. She was like, stop saying that. You're more than just a hairstylist. You're not just anything. But, and it almost sounds like my worth was positioned by, like, it was because of an income, or I felt like I needed a degree to do certain things. I just didn't see what else I could do, right? What else I can do. But I knew I did eventually want to go back to school. And again, I just sat there and was like, I think therapy would be a good one because I really do love helping people. I love this. You see, I'm talking so much. I love talking to people. I think, and then doing hair helped me to see that was a gift because again, people would come and just like, man, I know all the business, but I'm not one of those hairstylists who like gossip. Right. Thank God, I'm not one of those. So I love that people trusted me with some of their most vulnerable moments and their secrets and things like that. And I was like, I want to learn how to professionally do this. Like, what does that look like? But even in the program, and after graduating, I found out there's so many other avenues I can go down too. So it was a great way to open a door for me. And now I'm at a domestic violence organization working with survivors there. Okay. Love it. Same thing. I get to have these wonderful conversations with women who are having some of the most challenging times, and get to just empower them and pour into them. And I love it. I really do love it. And I love it, and I love the realness of it. And it's a gift. It really is an honor and a gift that I'm privileged to, do that. So.
That's wonderful.
Yes, thank you.
Speaking of gift, I think about a lot of times how we have a gift, and God wants to use that to get us towards the promise or towards our purpose. But sometimes we put that above God. Like putting the gift before the giver.
Tell me more.
Yeah, like we don't honor God with it. Sometimes we use it for evil.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we use it for good, but we just don't reverence. Like, I have this gift. Like, just like you said, like, in the 23 years of doing hair, it was a gift that transitions you into other things.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what if within that time, you didn't honor God?
Yeah.
You didn't give your reverence.
Yeah.
You didn't serve or whatever, however God deems fit for you to reverence him. Like, where would you be?
Right. So like that gift becomes your God, or it's like, I did this.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is all me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Listen, I know some people like that, boy. Yeah, I think that, so I'm sorry, was that a question you was asking me? Because I'm just chiming in.
No, you good. Go ahead.
No, I actually, it is amazing to see people who make it seem as if this is all me.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I did this myself. I got here. I worked for this. And that fall is hard. Mm-hmm. It's gonna come, right? If you feel like it didn't take God to come in here somewhere and provide some resources to provide whatever, like, yeah, that fall is gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt, and it's gonna humble you. It's gonna humble you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been humble before, but I don't think it's been because like I thought that I did this. You know what I mean? Yeah, I have to think on that one some more. But I can't recall a time where I ever was like, it's all me. You know? Because I do know where my help come from. You know?
No, for real.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes it can be a small humble. Like, I had to check myself. I was in the shower. That's when I do my best thinking. The hot water beating on your back, the steam, and you just be like, I'm about to fall asleep in here. But I just was thinking, and I was just like, things aren't moving as fast as I would want them to. Or, I want this to be like that. I ain't expect for things to be like this. I think I'm going to just do this. And then I had to check myself, and literally, immediately after I said, I'm going to do it like this, I said, why I'm trying to do God work?
When accelerate something.
When he already told me one thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm trying to play God.
Yes. A lot of people lack patience. Me.
Yeah.
Me being one of them, like, huh? Truth corner. But yeah, a lot of people lack patience, and they want to then manipulate the things to speed up the process. But oftentimes that could be a terrible business decision. That could be detrimental to what you're trying to build, right? That could be, it could be so many things. But I definitely have seen it in business where people, it's just like, you linked up with the wrong person. You know what I mean? And slow progress is still progress. And especially slow money, like, it lasts longer. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to last longer. But I think sometimes, again, we see other people in these spaces doing these things, and we forget that that's for them. That's for them. What's for us might be different and look different, right? What's for us might, maybe it'll last longer. Maybe it'll come in a different form or fashion. But you're right. If we don't leave room for God to do his thing, and we try to manipulate and do it, we could be jacking this thing all the way up. You know what I mean? So
Definitely.
Yeah.
But I think we talked about that too before in one of our sessions. About just being patient. Not trying to, I don't think we used that phrase of trying to play God, but basically like not trying to accelerate something.
Yeah.
And being, I talked about this in my first episode, where we talked about like just knowing what you want to do and not trying to do what somebody else is doing. Cause it seems, that seems fun, or they making money fast, or because it was like, that's for them.
And it's a lot of copycats out here who just trying to be carbon copies of somebody else. And what happens is, because it's not true to you, you then are not authentic in your approach to doing this. It feels foreign to you. It feels funny. Like, it don't even sound believable sometimes coming from some people, right? I think about people who do like podcasts or do different things, and they start, Yes, and so I really want to, just impart to you today. Like, that ain't, come on now. If I get on here talking like that, y'all be like, Kyla, stop it. Just stop it.
You,
Like,
yeah.
that is not you. I think even in sometimes, so this is the thing that I kind of felt when I got back into the academic space, right? I felt really funny because I didn't talk that language. I didn't speak that same, like, use those terms and things like this. And it cracks me up to this day, even now being in the corporate world, hearing some people use just certain terms. I'm like, let's make it plain, guys. Stop it. You know what I mean? Like, stop. But it took for me, and again, it just takes for people to believe in you and to speak into you. I allowed myself to be vulnerable with one of my like mentors in the fellowship space, and she had to speak into me. She said, "No, Kyla, you absolutely belong here. Yes, you come from being a hairstylist, not this corporate world or this academic space, but you have a totally different perspective than other people have, and you have another way of engaging with people and building rapport." She said, "You build rapport immediately." But you know why that is? And it's not just because of hair. I was a substitute teacher for a long time, too. And so you already know, going into the classroom, you gotta be ready to connect with these, and kids are vicious. You know what I mean? And so I've learned how to quickly capture people's attention, build trust, but it's genuine. It's not me manipulating, but I definitely am aware of how you can manipulate a situation, which I think people should be aware and know themselves enough to know what that looks like, because sometimes I think people can fall into doing things a certain way, thinking it comes from a good intent, but it's really like ill intent or malicious behind there, or manipulative behind there. But yeah, any space I can go into, I build rapport quick with people. You know how many people like you can build just a good rapport with just by giving a compliment. "I like your shirt, that's neat. Where you get that from?" Right? These conversations, like, that's just genuinely, like, somebody told me, like, "How that's so fake. You can't like something about somebody you see all the time." But I really do. "I like your shoes. That was nice." You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
it's just being, kindness costs nothing.
Nothing at all.
It pays off.
It do.
Absolutely.
Open up doors.
Hey.
So,
Yeah.
So what would be some advice that you would have for somebody that's trying to walk into their purpose or get to the promise?
What would be my advice? I think it's a little bit of everything we talked about. One, patience. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with the process. Oh, that word was like, I hated the word process while I was in school. Like, this is part of the process. I still have one more test I have to take to become fully licensed as a therapist. This is still part of the process. You know what I mean? Like, death to the process. But be patient with the process. But also find gratitude in that process, because, again, you can miss so many great things and moments in there by looking too far forward and worried about where I'm not at yet. Who's already there? Why haven't I gotten? You know what I mean? So being patient, being mindful of others, but really of yourself. So I think tapping into yourself, knowing the things that are your triggers that can really derail you. People, places, thoughts. Some people that, I think we talked about, some people we had to kind of like, and I tell everybody this, people are afraid to let people go. They really are afraid to let people go. My mama gave me the gift of cutting people off, though, And not, you know what, that sounds so.
No, speak your truth. Speak your truth.
I'll say this. I don't burn bridges, just know that. I don't burn bridges, okay. But I will adjust in a way that is, you just won't see me anymore, But I think that's what people have to learn how to do, is to adjust. So it doesn't have to be anything like, "I don't mess with you no more." It don't have to be all this rah-rah. You just adjust in the way you interact with somebody,
right?
The conversations that you have, the information they're privy to, right? Like, everybody don't need to know your dreams and aspirations and what you got coming up next, because just there's some haters out here.
It is.
And there's some people who are really like poo-pooing on your dream. Like, they don't want to see you. They don't want to see P.D.A.
Hey, too bad.
You know what I mean? Like, hater. But it's really, yeah. So being aware of those things is important. And then lastly, that trust and belief in yourself. You ultimately have to believe in yourself, because at the end of the day, when ain't nobody around, we have to learn how to internally validate ourselves, internally coach ourselves. Good job, you got this. Write these things down. I'm learning now, and I just made a post about this, that I'm learning how to give myself credit for the things I've done, because so easily I would give credit to others, or, well, I didn't just do this by myself, or whatever, you know. But learning how to recognize myself for the things I've accomplished and done. Right. I did that, you know what I mean? And that's great. And celebrating those small wins. Because if we don't take the time to do that, you're going to burn out. You're going to burn out because you're waiting on somebody else to acknowledge and celebrate you. No, I ain't about to wait on nobody. It's a party over here. You know? It's a party over here. But real talk again, I say these things, and this is stuff I'm still working on. And I think the one other thing that people, I think people think that this process, there's like once I get there, it's done. No, because as long as you got breath in your body, it's going to be another process. Right. It's going to be another thing. It's going to be another barrier. So you have to learn how to stick with it, right? Stick with it when ain't nobody calling you, when nobody's in your corner at the time, when everything piles up. But you know, no matter how high you get, how low you get, stick with it. As long as you're breathing, it's going to be some things in there. It's going to be some things in there. So you asked me for one thing, girl.
But I mean, look, the people need.
That's my ADD talking. Like, I just can't get one. Like, no. But yeah.
So something that I'm learning is something that you just said.
Yes.
And I guess God's trying to smack me in the face with it and get me to understand it. Because I was talking with somebody and they was telling me that about how they deal with people. Like how you said, not everybody needs to know your business. They don't need to know your deepest, darkest fears or your dreams and aspirations. And they were telling me like how they deal with somebody. It's just like on a need to know basis. It's just like they know literally about the bare minimum, and that's it. And moving forward, and I've always been the type of person where when I cut you off, I cut you off. That's it. I'm done. It ain't that it's beef. I just don't talk to you. It's done. We don't have nothing else to discuss. I'm not telling you the bare minimum. You get to know
nothing.
So, just. I guess learning that, because I always felt like if I have to gauge how I mess with you or I gauge how I interact and give off information to you, then I don't need you in my I don't need you in my life.
Yeah, and I can understand that. I think honestly, one thing for me is like, oh gosh, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but as we age, but as you do age, I think, and things kind of shift for you. I'll just say as we age. I'll say for me, it did come with age. That it doesn't have to be a hard cutoff always. And it don't have to be, everybody talks about like, any closure. Listen, it don't always have to be closure. Sometimes we don't get closure. Sometimes we're not going to get these apologies and things like that. You'll still live. You can still move on, right?
Right.
But sometimes it is just like things end. And that's okay. But I'm only responsible for myself, what I act, what I say, and what I do. I can't control your reaction to me not talking to you anymore or not interacting with you in this way anymore. I will leave space for people that, if there's questions, we can have a conversation. I'll say this for anybody that I don't maybe deal with anymore, that I used to deal with in a certain way in the past. It's not always that, oh, I think they're a bad person, something bad happened. Lives change, capacity changes, right? Your focus change. My daughter, my oldest graduated college, my youngest about to she's about to graduate high school, so my focus, I really don't have a lot of capacity for like the things I did. And those who really know you, and I think kind of just value, they understand, you know. There's those who understand and there's those who don't, and I can only handle so much.
Right.
So. But I'll say like business wise though, in doing business, I do try to maintain good relationships, but not good in a way that it's gonna be. I don't like fake. You know what I mean? I just don't. So I don't. There's some people I think who have great platforms and could have great opportunities, and I just don't think everything is for everybody. So I think people who approach, like try to maintain certain relationships because of what somebody could do for them, that's where you really kind of like, yeah, no,
Yeah.
no,
Because it's transactional.
and that's not real. Like it's like, I don't know. I just value relationships. I do.
Yeah.
I do. I value relationships, and if I tell you I'm here for you, I got you, call me, whatever, I meant that.
I mean it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when somebody does something else and it makes me feel away, I can't fool with you. After that,
Look, that's how I be feeling. Like,
you
all
really
right.
hurt my feelings.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
you hurt my feelings. Now I gotta get you up out of here and see what you done did.
You
Now,
really
look,
hurt my feelings.
You did it to yourself.
No, but I think as we get older and as we have these different responsibilities in life, these different what do I want to say, like compartments, right? Like I'm a mom, I'm a business owner, I'm a health program manager, I'm a therapist. Like I have all these different places, and it's not like I have to be a totally different person in every place, but I do have to preserve my peace. And a part of me preserving my peace is there's just some interactions I can't have because it's costing me too much. I think we've done this before, a cost-benefit analysis,
Yes,
right?
we
What is
did.
it costing you and what is it benefiting you? And we often have to ask ourselves that in situations. What is this costing me to continue on this relationship with somebody? How am I benefiting from this, right? And not that everything has to be I benefit every time, right? But if it's costing me more to sit here on the phone with you and you just dumping, and not one time do you say, how you doing? Do you need anything? Yeah, we can't keep doing this.
Right. Yeah.
We can't keep doing this. So,
Because you doing more of the reaping.
yeah.
While I'm sowing. Sure,
Right.
I'm sowing, I'm pouring into your
Right.
basket. I'm depleted at the end. So what
Absolutely.
I'm getting back?
Yeah.
Nathan.
Yeah. Nathan. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just crazy that you said that, because when I had that conversation with that person at the time, I didn't I understood it, but I'm like, whatever. I don't care. But I guess it comes with maturity. It comes with I guess life experiences to see some people you gotta. Cause I'm very much when I stop messing with somebody and I completely cut them off, you piss me off.
Yeah.
Or I just, and this probably gonna sound bad, I don't see any value in holding that relationship.
I understand. Everybody won't understand that. And I think it takes a certain mindset to understand, but everybody won't. People gonna hear what they want to hear. And people get things at different times, but I understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's it's not that I'm saying that you're not valuable.
Yeah.
It's just for what I got going on, you don't hold a lot of value.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's just, relationship. I mean, relationships. I think that's what I was going to say. Quality over quantity. I do truly believe that as we age, hopefully, because some people don't ever get here. When we're younger, we see the quantity. I got 15 friends. We all did that. Like, man, dog, come on, y'all really don't even like each other. When you get older and you start to have these different things going on in life, it's the quality you're looking for, right? And you can still have friends. These are my friends I go out with and I hang out with. These are my friends that, will sit in some mess with me and really help me process through some things. This is my friend who, you have different friends for different things, and that is okay. Right. But people have this thought that you got to have these friends that do all the things. Don't nobody do all the things. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I'm a little guilty. I'm a little guilty.
But and that's all. I'll say this. On my way over here, I was talking to my best friend, and we've been best friends since middle school. And it's funny because I talk to her every great now and then.
Mm-hmm.
And we still like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I got another friend in California like that. I talk to her, man, I try to talk to her more than on her birthday. You know what I mean? But like we talk, I'll say at least 2-3 times a year. And I'm trying to do better as I have the capacity for it, but we still okay. You know what I mean? I think sometimes when we're at certain ages, people, well, this person ain't show up for me like this, and da-da-da.
Mm-hmm.
But we so worried about what we got going on. We don't always think about what else somebody else has going on.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a whole nother. I had a whole therapy session about that with somebody. Yeah.
Cause I was very much guilty of the like. I felt like every friend that I had to have all the things until somebody said something where it was like, not everybody is going to have everything. Some people are gonna have. Some people you're gonna be able to sit down and pray with. Sometimes you got a party friend.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got a friend where you just take trips with them. And I was just like, nah, I need all my people in my circle to be this.
To be are you there?
Yeah.
Are you tired?
No.
Okay. Not at all.
And then that's also where I learned that too recently is that you can't expect you from people.
That's my favorite one. Now, when somebody told me that, I was like, whoa, that hit me. Like, whoa. Mm-hmm. But it's true. It's true because if I show up, and so there we go. I show up for people in a certain way. Here's my thing. I am not the most always the most thoughtful person, right? I'm the person who's going to show up though. I'm an acts of service person, okay? Mm-hmm. I'm a doer. My daddy told me to be a doer. That's what he did for me though. I'm a doer and I will show up. I'm not the best gift, like, oh, I should buy them a gift for this. Like, I got real bills to pay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't sacrifice my real bills for, like, making sure you're happy because I bought you this gift. However, I have learned to understand people's love languages. Mm-hmm. For those people, I really do value our friendship. I have to learn that some people do like this quality time and what that looks like, right? But again, I think just things shift and change as we age, I ain't gonna talk about it. It's just as we experience life.
Yeah.
And if you're paying attention to these experiences and kind of like following the trends that are happening in your relationships, you learn some things. And sometimes that you got to look at you and really see like, maybe it's me. Yeah. Maybe I do need to adjust a little bit. But I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. I will honestly say I think it becomes exhausting trying to be everything for everybody at some point, you know.
Yeah, but I think when you're just naturally skilled at it.
I mean, yes.
So
that is your gift.
Yeah, just to blow my head up a little bit, not too much. But that's something that I had to learn too, like my capacity.
Yeah.
I know it's a lot greater than others.
Okay.
But also like I do kind of be like, I don't want to be bothered with you. So the balance in that, because it's like, I'll definitely, like you said, the love language, I'll definitely come support you.
Yeah.
I ain't so much of the giver. But if you said something to me like, oh my gosh, I've been wanting these for so long. And I'm like, all right, let me see if I got that in the budget. I might pop out with that. I give you the gift. So it's just like, I can do those things, but it's like balancing between being bothered and not being bothered.
So, because that's my question then for you is that if I didn't turn this podcast on you, if you are constantly giving and pouring, where do you leave room for yourself? And so, what does that look like for you then? What does it look like? Like, how do you notice that I need to pull back and leave room for myself? I need to get in my space.
I'll be getting irritated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you wait to that point of irritation or do you notice the climb?
I notice it.
Okay.
And then I start pulling back. But for whatever reason, I guess I want to say assigned to people who constantly want to talk. Mm-hmm. I will always get clingy people.
Yeah.
And let me just say this, like when I'm in a relationship, well, I ain't never been in one, but if I'm trying to get into one, cling to me, please. Cling me healthily.
Cling to me.
Cling to me healthily. But like with friendships, I've always been the type of person where it's like, when we friends, we don't have to talk every day. Because how my personality is, we're gonna pick up where we left off. We could not talk for 5 years, and we're gonna pick up like we talk like every day. So having people that they feel like they have to constantly talk every day on the phone all day.
Those are the kind of people you attract.
Yes. Them type of friends. Not like I said, when I'm trying to pursue a relationship, baby, talk to me.
Yes. So silly.
But when it comes to the friendship part, that's where it's like I notice the irritation and I draw back. But then it becomes, they look at you like you fake.
But see, you know what that is? That means that's the place where you need to put a boundary. And it might be a boundary from, not saying we enter into, okay, we're friends, but here's the boundaries of it, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's just when you start to recognize certain things like, they're calling me all the time. A gentle boundary of, hey, sometimes I'll be having things going on and we're not always going to talk, but know that I'm going to get back to you, you know. I think that right there is important because boundaries are important in every relationship, whatever, you know what I mean? Any relationship you need to have those type of boundaries because people will just pour, and it's like, oh, I didn't know there was parameters here. Mm-hmm. So that might be an indicator for you. That when you start to notice this early on, don't wait to the point of irritation. Check the patterns. You just said, I always get these people who like to... Right, I've had to learn that because clearly, I mean, this is why I'm doing what I do now, but I do always get the people who come into all their business. Mm-hmm. And so I just let people know, like, I'm good at, like, well, hey, actually, I got to run. I got a phone call I got to make. I got this to do, right? That's a way to say, I got things going on. Mm-hmm. But sometimes people do need just a verbal, like, hey, I understand you like having these phone calls. You like to check in daily, but that's just not something I always do. And it doesn't mean I don't want to talk to you. I don't like you. It's just sometimes I need some space to process through my day or do what I need to do and handle my business. This is not a therapy session. This is not a therapy session. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. So, from this episode today, what was, and then, I like to do a segment called P for P, which is purpose for purpose.
Okay.
What was purposeful for you?
Purposeful for me? Just being here. I was so excited. Like, oh my goodness. This was so purposeful because I'm telling you, sometimes it takes for me to see that seeds I've planted have become fruitful. Like, this is a gift for me to see. Like, oh my goodness. This off a conversation? Wild. And so it lets me know that, Kyla, keep going. Like, because again, I too have these great, like, oh my gosh, I need to have this meeting, this needs to go like this, right? I was trying to run another group with a guy group, outside of the church, and, it didn't pick, like, I don't know I had a good response, but the people didn't show up like they would, and like most people, I got discouraged. It was just like, all right, well, I don't have time for it right now anyway. I need to, but this right here is letting me know, like, yeah, maybe I need to tap back into this again and see what this looks like, or allow God to show me a different way of what it looks like. But I definitely feel like that, just being here, thank you, is very purposeful. Like, it's just, it's a great moment.
Yeah, coming around full circle.
It's a great moment, yeah.
I would say, I think from what I picked up is, there was a saying, and I was watching Darius Daniels, and he said to walk in the specific until you get clarity on the vague. Walk in the specific until you get clarity on the vague. Okay. And just listening to you about what a word First Lady gave you, how you gave it unto me, and I think we talked about obedience a little briefly about, and just thinking about getting in position for purpose or the promise, is that obedience is important. So sometimes God gives you a word, God gives you something in order to get in position, to get you set up for the next level or the next assignment. Yes. And we have to walk in the specific until we get clarity
on the bag. It's like sifting out, weeding out things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was good. I'm writing that one down.
I'm gonna
write that one down. Yeah. That was a good one.
Yeah, it was a good one. Yeah. So that's what I got was purposeful.
Yeah.
For this, and besides you, just like I said, being instrumental in helping me get in position. Because like I said, I feel like I'm then and now I'm in that season of preparing for the promise.
Yeah.
I feel like it's very close.
What makes you feel like that? What are, I always want to speak in signs, but what are some things that like showing you?
Signs, but answer prayers.
Uh-huh.
God speaking to me.
Yeah.
And then even like when I try to see myself veering off from the track of what he's saying, he's pulling me back.
Yeah.
And so just that, and it's like a feeling too.
I agree
Sometimes
with that.
it's just a feeling.
Yeah, I actually have moments where I talk to people and I legit get chills when people say, I'm like, oh, I either needed that or something that's like was really true or whatever. But I believe in that. And then also, like you said, again, paying attention to small things and certain answer prayers. Like, remember when, that's why I tell people, watch what you pray for. Right? Because it's going to come, you know. Even like, God, give me patience. Well, you got to think about these situations you've gone through. He was seeing if you got this patience, you know, he's working on you. But I think that there's, we do have to look at just the small evidence that is happening. Mm-hmm. It's happening. Because so many people are, again, waiting for this big moment. And it's like, it's happening. Mm-hmm. What you waiting on?
It's the little things that's putting it all together.
The little things build to the big things, right? Every penny, you get 100 of them, going to make $1, right? So it's these small things that we just can't ignore. And we have to allow those moments to rest in and celebrate and look like, I tell people, just breathe and look, just, okay. Mm-hmm. I love it. Okay. Okay. But yeah.
Well, I thank you for being here.
Thank you. This was great.
It was.
It was great. It's always a good time when I talk to Lex.
Always. Well, y'all, thank y'all for tuning in. It's your girl Q Vercetti with the season 2 of P.D.A. podcast. We'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to the P.D.A. podcast. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow on all social media platforms, as well as share. Peace.